In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Wait, is there a God? Is there proof that God exists? The very first line of the Bible begins with the words, "In the beginning, God." It doesn't say, "In the beginning, nothing." It's funny that the very first line of the Bible answers the question man has been asking all of their lives. How did we get here? And yet, there are many who simply refuse to believe in the beginning. You see, if there was a beginning, then by definition, there can't be anything before it. If I begin to speak, that means I wasn't speaking before. If the universe began at some point, then it didn't exist before then. Now this creates a problem. Nothing comes from nothing. 0 plus 0 is still 0. So that leaves us with two options. Either the universe has no beginning, or there's something that caused the universe to begin. There is no third option. In order for us to exist today, there must have been something that existed forever. Some people attempt to create a third option. They talk about something known as a causality loop. That's where something in the past comes about because of something in the future. There is a problem with this, though, called the grandfather paradox. If I go back in time and push my grandfather off of a cliff before he had kids, then my parents wouldn't have existed, and therefore I couldn't exist. So who could push him off the cliff? Causality loops can't be your third option because even they require something to exist at the beginning. So when we ask the question, is there a God? We first need to ask ourselves if we can believe in a causeless cause. Can we believe in something that has existed eternally? Remember, either the universe existed eternally, or it has a beginning, meaning something else had to exist eternally. A well-known atheist, scientist Stephen Hawking, spoke of something called the Big Bang. His work showed the universe had a beginning. What you may not have heard is that he spent the rest of his life basically trying to disprove the Big Bang. Why would he try to disprove his own theory? It's because he knew that for the universe to have had a beginning, there had to be something else that existed before it, eternally. The Big Bang, used by so many atheists to explain how we got here, is the very proof they need to prove we didn't get here by chance. That's why Stephen Hawking spent the rest of his life trying to disprove it. Because he knew, smart as he was, that if it were true, then there must be something else. There must be something eternal with intelligence and the ability to make things happen. There must be a God. Stephen was never able to disprove that. The universe is governed by cause and effect. Without a cause, nothing happens. There's nothing in this universe that doesn't have a cause behind it. Therefore, it cannot be eternal, since it's under these laws. Only a God, not bound by these laws, can bring about the first cause, the causeless cause. But is this eternally existent thing really a God? I think you have to decide what the word God means before you can say for certain. That really is the key issue. It's not hard for the atheist to believe that there was something eternal. It's hard for them to believe it's the God of not only the Christian religion, but the God of any religion. When you ask them what came before the Big Bang, they're more than content to say, we don't know, and that's fine by us. In Acts 17:20 through 31 in the Bible, it speaks of an intellectual people who had an altar with the inscriptions, to the unknown God. They were perfectly happy not knowing this God. It was fine by them. In a way, you can't blame them. There are so many things called God today. There are so many religions that sort it all out to find the true God. In order to do that, it would take multiple lifetimes of searching them all out. It's like the needle in the haystack. It's easier to leave the needle in there saying you don't even know if there is one than to try to find it. But if you aren't content to shrug and say, I don't know the God that created all things and obviously provides me life, then you're going to have to find out who He is. What is this thing that created the universe? What is it like? How do I even know what I'm looking for? Do I really have to examine every needle in this haystack? Through this entire video, I've only given you reason to believe that there is a God, or a causeless cause, if you want to use that term. Now, if you really want to know who God is, or what this causeless cause is, I suggest you take a look at the next video, where we'll talk about how to find the needle in the haystack. We're going to learn how to find God.